Hello, everybody, and welcome to Best Boys Deep Dive, a passion project both literally and figuratively. I'm your host for this evening, Leo.
And I'm your host for this afternoon, or morning, or whenever you're listening to this, Jesse.
A very long pause. Jesse.
Yeah.
The listeners are like, who is that? I gotta know who that is.
Who's it gonna be?
Waiting with bated breath. Who the fuck is this clown?
Our listener has literally
Our
met
listener.
me now.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
That was a good time. Hello, listener.
Hello,
I'm glad you got to meet Jesse.
Yay.
So, today, I'm hosting this episode because Jesse got 2 in a row, and now it's my turn.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Leo wants his turn in the spotlight.
It's my turn!
Yeah.
So...
it's... Before you go, I just want to say, you're a very excitable person, and I love that about you. But if you could refrain from, banging on your desk when you, for, emphasis, because it sounds horrible. In editing.
I'll do my best. I mean, I'm editing this one anyway, so it's whatever. But that's a fair point.
Yeah. Because I was listening
back
to
my
the episode.
notebook.
I was listening back to our last episode, and you're just banging on your desk, Land Before Time, and it's like, okay, calm down. Please stop.
Land Before Time.
You're scaring me.
So. I don't think I'm going to get this excitable about this one, to be honest. But, I'm going to be real with you. So, it's becoming increasingly apparent to me that this side podcast that we're doing is going to be a space for me to just info dump about whatever I'm hyperfixating at the time. Which I will not apologize for. Mm-hmm. But I thought it would be interesting to take a look at my very first hyperfixation from when I was 5 years old.
Mm-hmm. A very comfy blanket. That was your hyperfixation.
Yup, I was obsessed with it. No. I wasn't really into, creature comforts like that as a kid. I didn't really have a lot of stuffed animals. I mean, I did, but I didn't, sleep with them or anything.
Oh,
Anyway.
I still do.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I wish I, got that into stuffed animals, but I never did. But... today's topic is Care Bears.
Ooh.
That is the first thing that I got really, really into as a kid. I was absolutely obsessed with, and, looking back, it definitely was, the hyperfixation that I had as a child. So I thought it would be interesting to start with the very first one from the beginning of my broken brain manifesting itself in obsessive ways. So
you legally married one when you were a child.
I didn't legally marry one.
No, you did. That other kid was ordained by a minister.
No, my friends, also 5 years old. I had a wedding in my backyard where I married my Grumpy Bear stuffed animal, so that's cool. I don't think that holds up in court, because I don't think the 5-year-old that did the ceremony was ordained. I don't think that's legally binding. When I was 5,
she said
when I was 5 years old,
she said, "By the power invested in me by the state of Florida and God,
and God,
I now pronounce you Leo and Grumpy Bear."
Yeah, Leo and Grumpy Bear, but not the ones you think.
Oh,
we just switched names.
Right, Grumpy Bear is secretly your dead name.
Yeah, honestly.
You transitioned from Grumpy Bear to Leo.
My parents named me Grumpy Bear.
And Grumpy Bear vice versa.
So, I'm going to be discussing, for the sake of this episode, because there's, a decent amount of Care Bears reboots and, different movies and, the horrible CGI show that was on Netflix. I never watched it, but the art style does not look promising,
really?
I'm gonna be honest. It looks kind of weird.
Is it the same art style of, the show for the Hub that they did a few years back, or...?
I don't know. Whatever. It's a lot of CGI ones that I've noticed. Mm-hmm. There's a couple of different reboots that are CGI, and I'm, not a fan of them, to be honest. Not to be that person, but, they're ugly. I don't want to watch them.
That's fair.
So,
CGI
for this episode,
ages a lot worse than 2D animation.
Absolutely.
Which is very apparent, because Toy Story 4 just came out and everyone's looking back on the first Toy Story, and
a lot of people are like, I don't remember it looking this bad.
Yeah, some of it looks fine, but then you see stuff like, Sid and his dog, and it just it looks like a PlayStation 1
Sid's dog
cutscene.
with his like human ass eyes.
And there's like no texture on anything.
Yeah, it's real bad. So, for this episode, I'm going to be talking about the movies and sort of the TV show that I was most familiar with as a kid. They were way before my time, actually. I was born in 1997, and they had like a reboot or like a relaunch in 1992, but I never caught that wave. But like, I guess the older stuff was like on Boomerang or something. I watched a lot of the old TV show at my grandparents' house, and I just had the VHSs of the movies. So we're going to talk about the mainline, like, 3, like, theatrically released 1980s Care Bears movies, and, like, part of the TV show that came out around the same time. So I'm going to talk about 3 movies, Fast and Furious. Hopefully it's not going to take a whole lot of time, but I feel like you can't talk about one without the others. So, for some background, I'm going to get into some, like, the development of the actual concept and franchise of, like, the Care Bears characters.
I love this
characters
stuff.
And, like,
I love this stuff.
It sucks because the Care Bears, like, getting back into this and doing research and, like, rewatching these movies, it's kind of disheartening because it doesn't really capture my attention as much as it did as a kid.
Really?
And part of it is because I realize this was just a marketing thing. It was just to sell greeting cards. It was just to sell toys. There's, like, really not a whole lot of heart and soul put into it. Like, a lot of different media that I've gotten into in the past and I'm, like, currently, like, into. But, like, Care Bears is, like, a soulless marketing ploy, and it's, like, kind of difficult to come to terms with that as an adult. But, like,
that is,
I think
like, that is, like, a lot of animated stuff from the 80s, though. Like, you could say the same thing about, like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or G.I. Joe or Barbie.
However, Transformers, one of my main special interests. However, Care Bears has not been readapted very well. So it's like the reason why I like Transformers so much is because, yeah, it used to be just like a soulless marketing gig, but now, like, whatever TV shows come out or whatever, like, comic series that they do, there's a lot more effort and heart put into it. So I appreciate it more. Like, yeah, it used to be really bad, but look what it's become. That hasn't really happened with Care Bears. Like, I watched some of the newest reboot that came out, like, this year, the one with, like, the really cute art style that's on, like, Boomerang streaming or whatever. It's, like, it's okay. It's a kid's show. But it's not, like, really good, you know?
Yeah.
So, it's difficult to kind of be like, hey, this thing that I was, like, really passionate about and loved a lot as a kid, it's not that great, and its origins aren't that great, so that's, like, kind of disappointing. But I think it is pretty interesting, and I think it says a lot about a lot of media that was created during the 1980s, especially that media created for kids.
Yeah.
So, the development of Care Bears happened, it was done by a company, and it's the acronym is TCFC, which I had never really heard of before I looked into this. It stands for Those Characters from Cleveland.
Huh.
That's I don't
funny.
know. I don't know what it is. I think it's like a marketing firm or something similar.
That's so weird. It reminds me of, like, funny animal characters. Like, it's just so weird and, like,
it sounds like a dumb, like, puppet TV show.
Yeah.
It sounds like Bad Sesame Street.
Those characters from Cleveland.
Yeah, so those characters from Cleveland developed these characters, like the Care Bears and Care Bear Cousins later on, in 1981 to be used as characters for greeting cards. And let me say, the original greeting cards and the original art for them, absolutely beautiful. So pretty. So pretty. Like, peak aesthetic. Like, very painterly, very soft, very, like, just adorable. They're very, very cute. So, the characters were developed for greeting cards. And Muriel Farian, I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce her last name. I could be, like, fucking that up. But she was actually one of the concept artists and worked on the development of Strawberry Shortcake. But she was brought in as well to be one of the concept artists for the original, like, concept art for the Care Bear designs.
Yeah.
And then
these are very pretty.
They're so pretty, right?
I just looked them up, and these are really good looking.
They're so cute.
Yeah.
there were millions of these cards that were circulating. Like, so many of these things were published. I feel like I obviously got into Care Bears in the 90s when it had kind of died down a bunch. There was a huge cultural zeitgeist regarding these little fuckers. So, the Strawberry Shortcake Lady, Muriel Farian, was one of the lead concept artists. And then, once all of the characters and the designs were kind of solidified, children's book illustrator Elena Kucherik was the primary artist for most of the cards. So, like, all of the artwork that you pulled up was probably that one lady. Cool. So, all of those paintings were done by, like, one person. They're very cute. I definitely I definitely recommend looking up just, like, some of these old greeting cards. They're fucking adorable. And, like, of course, they have all these different bears and characters to, like, fit different niche, whatever. Like, you know, birthday bear, or like I think there's like an America bear for like 4th of July or whatever.
Yeah,
there's
you told me about America Bear the other day, and I made the joke of like bootlicker bear.
Bootlicker bear, yeah.
It's really funny.
That's really good. So
Cops at Pride Bear.
Cops at Pride Bear, yeah. Stonewall Bear.
Yeah. Well, there is also like Good Luck Bear, which is like has like a shamrock on his belly.
Yeah, it's like, you know, that's clearly for, like...
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day cards? Do people send those?
I don't think so, but it could also be, like, you know, wishing you luck in your expedition or whatever.
Yeah, like, you're graduating, cool.
Not expedition, endeavors.
Expedition? Yeah. You're going to,
You're going to Mars.
You're going to Mount Everest.
You're going to fuck.
Here, have this greeting card with a nice green bear on it.
You're going to fuck. That's not even like... Wouldn't that be funny on like a Care Bears card?
You're going to Mars.
No, you're going to fuck.
You're going to fuck. I mean, there's a bear called Love a Lot.
Ooh.
That works.
Naughty.
She was one of my favorites as a kid just because I liked the shade of pink that she was.
Aw.
Cheer Bear was pink, but she wasn't... Love a Lot was more like... hot pink, more like fluorescent. Cheer Bear was more like soft pink, and that wasn't as fun. I like
really?
know nothing. I know like nothing about Love-A-Lot's character, honestly. I just really liked her because she was pink. I was 5. I'm not gonna apologize for liking the pink bear.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think a softer pink is way more appealing than like a harsh pink.
Oh, I loved like hot pink as a kid. I was like really into
like
fluorescent bright pink.
I think I did too, but like now I think like pastel, like a soft pink is way more like pleasant to look at than like this harsh, like blinding ray of pink. Like this ugly fuchsia. I think fuchsia's just hideous.
Oh, I love fuchsia. I still think it's a great character.
I don't know.
A great color.
Yeah, I don't know. Whenever I like am like drawing something or whatever, and like I'm like trying to get like a shade of pink, and I always accidentally like get it a little too close to like purple, or I get it a little too bright and it's like this neon, like, and I'm like, oh no, slide it down the slider towards like white, please.
Please God.
Please make it pale.
So something interesting, in 1983 the official toy line was launched for the Care Bears to like accompany the characters that showed up on the greeting cards, of which I had many. I had many Care Bears as a kid.
Yeah. I don't think I had any, which is really interesting because I loved these little dudes. Like, I would see them in commercials and on, like, I saw a couple movies when I was a little kid, and I always thought they were, like, so appealing to look at, but I never had a Care Bears.
That I, like, collected them kind of as a kid. Like, I didn't really, like, play with them. No, I played with them. I don't know.
You married one.
I did certainly marry one, but
legally.
Yeah, I had a ton of them. I don't remember which ones I had though, which kind of sucks. I know I had Grumpy Bear, and I'm pretty sure I had Share Bear, who's purple. I don't remember like any of them. I don't think I had any of the Care Bear cousins, unfortunately, because they were cool. I feel like they get left out of a lot of shit.
Yeah, definitely.
But anyway, the toy line was launched in 1983, and there was a lawsuit against TCFC, or like whoever was licensing the toys at the time. There was a lawsuit against them. Or no, they filed a lawsuit against Message Bears, something very similar.
Oh, okay.
I don't like. I haven't seen what these fuckers look like, but I'm assuming it's something very similar.
I'm gonna look at
However,
Message Bears.
the Care Bears line lost the lawsuit against the Message Bears because they didn't have, I shit you not, they're called tushy tags. Little tags on their butt indicating that they are Care Bears. They lost the lawsuit because they didn't have those tags, so it couldn't be comparable. Which is really funny.
That's really funny. I'm looking at Message Bears now, and they're like just generic little teddy bears. They look nothing like Care Bears.
Oh, what the hell? Yeah, that is bullshit.
It's literally just like a regular teddy bear with like a t-shirt.
It's wearing like a t-shirt with words on it. That's so funny.
Like, yeah, Message Bears are very like not comparable to Care Bear.
Care Bears. Yeah, that's
like,
really
Care
funny.
Bears have like those bright, like, you know, different colors and like a, you know, a pattern or like a symbol on their stomach and like,
yeah, their belly badge.
And they
it's called a belly badge.
And they have like their tushy tag, as you say, like,
yeah.
They have a heart shaped
also have
nose. Like, there's a lot going on with like the Care Bears like design and aesthetic, and there isn't any of that with Message Bears. So it's weird that there was a lawsuit to begin with.
Yeah, the, like...
You'd think that Message Bears would have sued Care Bears for, like, to try and get, like, publicity for themselves.
Maybe, yeah, honestly. It's funny because there's not a whole lot of diversity within the character designs of the characters, like the Care Bears or the cousins, to be honest. Because, like, Braveheart Lion is straight up a bear with an elongated snout and a mane. That's
yeah, for sure. Like,
oh my god!
And a tail.
I'm gonna get to this when I talk about the movies. Oh no, I sent you a picture. Noble Heart Horse. That's not a fucking horse.
Oh yeah.
The purple guy that I sent you a picture of, that does not look like a horse.
It's literally just like a bear with like a long face and like sort of a mane, I guess.
Like slightly pointy ears.
Yeah, and like some long
no hooves.
hair. Yeah,
He's
no
got
hooves.
paws, which is really upsetting. But so yeah, there's not a whole lot of diversity within the Care Bears when it comes to character design, but you can definitely tell the difference between this bear and this like brown teddy bear with a t-shirt on.
Yeah.
I don't think they're the same thing at all.
Mm-hmm. Like, you can't market a TV show around the brown teddy bears with t-shirts.
They just wear shirts.
Yeah, like, hey, I hope you feel
Their
better.
gimmick is that they wear clothes. That's so funny.
One just
Bitch,
walks...
so does Winnie the Pooh. Get in line.
One just walks up to another and says, hey, I hope you feel better. And the other says, hey, I love you. And that's the entire show.
That's the episode. So, okay. The movies.
Mm-hmm.
This is the nitty gritty. So, the toy line came out in 1983. The same year...
1883.
19. Did I say 18?
Oh, yeah, you said 18.
Oh, fuck. 19. Fuck. I keep, like, saying that weird.
Yeah,
1983. The same year that the toy line was launched, the first movie came out. So,
really? Okay.
I didn't know that these things were released theatrically because I watched them in the 90s.
Mm-hmm. And
also, I was 5. Like, anything that I didn't know about all of this, I'm just gonna chalk up to I was 5 years old and shitting my pants. Like, I'm not gonna... Not really. I didn't shit my pants when I was 5. That's a little too old for that.
Okay,
but
cool. Anyway...
But I didn't know a lot of stuff about these guys.
You say that to the person who, like, literally shat themselves, like, all last week.
Yeah, because you were so sick. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so... Yeah, the first movie came out in 1983. However, actually, you know what? No. There was some TV specials that came out in 1983 to kind of justify the toy line. Because it's like, how the fuck are you going to make toys out of greeting cards?
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, kids don't follow greeting cards. They don't care. So they released some TV specials in 1983. One of them was the Care Bears in the Land Without Feelings, and another one that came out later that year was the Care Bears Battled the Freeze Machine. Which is
That's
interesting.
Exciting.
I never watched those, so I'm not really gonna talk about them. And also, those were like the orig. I might watch them. They sound like interesting, but I'm talking about
machine.
Yeah, what?
I'm gonna Care Bears battle global warming.
Yeah, I guess. Oh shit, Care Bears! It's our greatest enemy yet.
Climate
Corporatism. Corporatism and climate change.
It's just the Care Bears beating up Ben Shapiro for 2 hours.
Yeah, oh my god. It's just them finding Jeff Bezos and, like, casting him into the ocean.
Great. Have you seen that, this is off topic, have you seen that one clip of, H. Bomber Guy did a video recently about, climate denial.
I've seen it floating around, but I haven't actually watched it.
There's a clip of, like, Ben Shapiro, like, saying, like, even if, like, climate change is, like, happening and whatever, and, like, how some people's houses get flooded, what's stopping them from just selling their house and, moving somewhere else? And, like...
A lot of shit, actually. A lot of shit are keeping people from being able to move.
And it cuts to H-Bomb, and he's behind, like a full wall, and he, like, chops the wall down with an axe, like, pushes his way through and just says, just one small problem, Ben. Sell their houses to who? Fucking Aquaman.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So funny.
There's on like the similar vein of like our greatest enemy yet, climate change. There's there's like a post that I saw that was like, whenever there's any sort of parody of Star Trek, it's always like, oh shit, we have to face our greatest enemy, Zach Blorp, the king or emperor of whatever. But like in actual Star Trek, it's like, we have to face our greatest enemy yet, fascism.
Yeah. Great.
So yeah, the Care Bears are gonna kill Jeff Bezos.
The Care Bears fight fascism.
Cool. No cops at Pride, just the Care Bears.
There's just the Care Bears there.
and cousins.
Yeah, of course.
So I didn't realize that these movies were theatrically released, and I found it out in my research preparing for this episode. But the Care Bears movie, released in 1985, I did not know this, was the highest grossing animated movie outside of Disney Animation at the time. And that is buck wild to me.
Yeah.
Because I want you to guess how much of a budget these motherfuckers had.
Oh,
They made this movie in 8 months. They worked with Nelvana Studios, and they also outsourced a lot of the animation to a different studio in Taiwan. But they had 8 months to finish this movie. And I want you to guess what their budget was.
Oh my god.
Granted, this is like a huge marketing thing. They made a ton of money from these greeting cards. I want you to guess what the budget was.
I'm guessing the budget is either like just like incomparably high or like staggeringly low. Like it's either something like $200,000 or like 85 million or something.
Do you have like a solid single guess, or do you want me to just tell you?
I'm thinking it's gonna be like surprisingly high because I know Mickey Rooney is in.
Yeah, he sure is.
The first Care Bears movie because I saw the Dougie McCritic review years ago.
Yeah. First of all, I wanted to point out, I feel like a lot of people may not have actually seen these movies, but I feel like a decent amount of people that exist on the internet are familiar with Dougie McCritic, and he did review all 3 of these movies, and I will address that.
Okay, cool.
But,
okay, so...
fuck him, these movies are fun to watch.
Yeah.
Just, like, right out the gate, they're for children.
So I'm gonna say because I know that Mickey Rooney, and I'm assuming some other celebrities were probably in this first movie, I'm gonna go and say that the budget was just staggeringly, like, far too high for a movie of this caliber. It's gonna be, like... Oh, well, I don't know, because then, like, you say that the movies, like, did really well financially, and they made quite a few of these, so it can't be that big. I'm gonna say 70 million. 70 million.
2.
2 million?
2 million.
That is nothing.
That's very low.
That's very low.
Very low.
Wow.
I was like, because I have a lot that I want to talk about in this episode. So there was like an entire part of the Wikipedia page for this movie talking about production details and like animation stuff and like developing the soundtrack. I definitely recommend reading it because I feel like it's a fascinating read. I very much just skimmed it for the purpose of this episode, but I want to get back into it and look more into it.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it was hell to make this movie.
2 million in
2
8
million
months?
in 8 months.
That
I
is
feel so
absurd.
bad for these animators. Oh
That's-
my god.
Yeah, that's absurd. And like, it was theatrically released too.
Yeah.
Like, and it wasn't just like, some like, oh, it was theatrically released like only in like 2 theaters. It was like, nationwide around the world, like everyone, like released in like every cinema, I'm assuming.
I couldn't find too much information about like that. I'm sure I could, but
like presumably, it was like
presumably, yeah.
It wasn't
did
like a
really well.
It wasn't a limited release. It was probably a wide release, which is oh my god, that's insane.
So like, I guess I'm gonna start talking about the movie in earnest now. I'm gonna go one movie at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, this movie was just thrown together in 8 months.
That's absurd.
I gotta say, yeah, you're right about Mickey Rooney. He was Mr. Cherrywood, the old guy that like tells the story at the beginning of the.
He's like the
story.
narrator.
Yeah, because the narration is diegetic because it opens up with like an orphanage and like Mr. and Mrs. Cherrywood and like the kids want a story before they go to bed, and so Mr. Cherrywood tells them the story of Nicholas, the Care Bears. Yeah. So Mickey Rooney is in this. Cree Summer voices Kim, the little girl, and Billy Mae Richards voices Tenderheart Bear, which we know as the Rankin Bass Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Oh yeah.
And I picked up on that as a kid, and it made me, like, super uncomfortable. I don't know why. I was like, oh shit, that's Tenderheart Bear. Why is that voice coming out of this reindeer? It, like, really freaked me out as a kid.
Yeah.
But, now that I know that, I think that's interesting, but as a kid, it, like, really freaked me out. But, yeah, Mickey Rooney is Mr. Cherrywood, and, like, Mr. Cherrywood tells the story of Nicholas, who is a guy, he's, like, a kid that works for this, like, shitty musician, and he has a trunk, and inside the trunk there's like this cursed ass book with like the creepiest face. It's so funny. This book is like possessed by a spirit that can like shapeshift and turn into different like scary animals or whatever. So Nicholas doesn't have any friends and wants to make friends, and the spirit's like, oh, if you are good at magic, people will like you. And so he's like, okay, cool, I'm just gonna hang out with this demon, I guess. So she gives him like magic powers, and like he reads these spells or whatever, and Tenderheart is like trying to be friends with him, and he's like, don't do this, and Nicholas is like, no, I'm gonna be bad or whatever so people will like me. And then the spirit's actually trying to make it so that nobody cares anymore, and it'll destroy Care-a-Lot, and they have like a caring meter that goes down every time the world gets bad or like people stop caring as much. And that's like their mission, to like stop or to like keep people like happy and caring about each other and whatever. And so the spirit is like putting curses on people like at the carnival where Nicholas works, and like the Care Bears have to like find him and like make friends with him so he'll stop. And then like Grumpy Bear is working on like a machine to like teleport the Care Bears wherever they need to go, and it breaks, so like there's Kim and Jason, who are orphans, and they're like the good guy kids, and they make friends with Friend Bear and Secret Bear. They're brought to Care-a-Lot, and then the teleporter breaks, so they get cast off into the Forest of Feelings, where they meet the Care Bear cousins, like Braveheart Lion, Playful Heart Monkey, Gentle Heart Lamb. They're like basically all the characters that aren't bears. So they get separated, and they have to like try to get back to Earth to find Nicholas, and like Care-a-Lot's falling apart, and then they finally get to the carnival where Nicholas is just like camping out in an old like castle ride that just so happens to have like a working like cauldron and like secret lair just built into it, so that's cool. But they find him. There's a cool sequence where they like run throughout the carnival, and they like go on all these rides and stuff. That's like pretty fun. And then they find Nicholas. They tell him that like they care about him and that he's like a good person and he doesn't have to do all this. And then he changes his mind and becomes a good guy, and then closes the book, and they lock it, and then the spirit is trapped forever. And then the Care Bear cousins join the Care Bears in Care-a-Lot, and they originally have blank stomachs. and then when they become a part of the Care Bear family, they get like their little belly badges and stuff, so they're able to like fully become a part of the family. So my thoughts on this movie is that it's good. It's pretty good. It holds up okay. The music is not excellent. Because a lot of it was like child actors singing, which like isn't always good.
We talked about it last week. Yeah,
it's not like excellent. The animation is decent. It's kind of like, it's, you know, the 80s. It's like a little bit stagnant, but there are some like pretty nice visuals. The way that the backgrounds are painted are very pretty, especially with all like the clouds and the rainbows and shit. Also, it's for kids.
Yeah.
It's a kids movie. And like, I know that nowadays children's media has a lot more effort put into it, which is good. I think that's great. But sometimes you just gotta watch something dumb. Like, sometimes, like, not every movie has to be a masterpiece.
And also, you gotta take it with, like, the context of, like, when it was made. Like,
exactly.
You can't just say, like, oh, this is a bad movie because it's, like, you know, it doesn't have, like,
hold up today.
It doesn't have, like, a great message, or, you know, it doesn't have, like, a lot of effort put into it. Like, yeah, and most movies from this era weren't, unless you were, like, a Disney. And even then, at the time, Disney wasn't releasing, like, masterpieces.
Yeah, I don't know, I think, like, it served its purpose. It's enjoyable to watch. It's, like, cute. The message is, like, not bad. I don't hate this movie. I am a little bit surprised that it did so well, because I wouldn't consider it a good movie, if that makes sense. I like it. I think it's good. I would watch it again.
But it's not like a technically great movie.
Yeah, like, by definition, it's not, like, an amazing movie. But it serves its purpose. It's for kids, and it's, like, relatively pretty. It's, like, cool. The Care Bears movie 2, which I remember liking a lot more as a kid. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot more as a kid for some reason.
Wasn't it Care Bears 2 The Next Generation, like Star Trek?
It was the Care Bears movie 2, A New Generation.
A New Generation, right.
So here's the thing. This movie is buck wild when it comes to, like... When it comes to, like, the established Care Bear lore, the, like, timing, like, all of the characters, there's, like, 2 new characters that just kind of come out of nowhere and are, like, integral to the Care Bear family, in quotes, and they do not make an appearance until the second movie. I'll get into it, but I remember liking this movie a lot more as a kid, and rewatching it as an adult, I'm like, oh no, this movie sucks, doesn't it? But I watched it till the end. Like, I watched all these movies within the past, like, 3 days. You watched the third one with me, like, yesterday.
Yeah. Boy,
so
did I.
So you can have more of a part in the conversation that way, which is really cool.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. So, yeah, the second movie is weird. The timeline makes no sense. I still think it's pretty good. I still, like, enjoy watching it. I think I remember it being, like, funnier than the first one as well, and the music is a lot better because it's all like just people singing in the background. It's not like the characters singing.
It's not musical numbers. It's okay.
Exactly. It's like montages rather than like musical numbers, which I really appreciate because do you remember in Dougie McCritic's review there's like a scene in the first Care Bears movie where they're singing about Care-a-Lot, they're singing about the Forest of Feelings, and they're singing about Earth and how like it's all home.
I think so.
These are where we live. There's like this one sequence where like the little boy Jason sings. It's bad. Like I feel bad like making fun of this child actor that like honestly did a pretty good job voice acting. Not a great singer.
Yeah.
But
that doesn't surprise me.
I think it definitely helps the sequel that they didn't do that. They didn't even try.
Yeah.
And I remember the songs being, like, pretty good. They're catchy, at least. Both movies, the songs are, like, pretty okay. So, yeah, it was not very well received for reasons that I will get into later that are not what you would expect.
Okay.
They're really weird reasons why people thought this was a bad movie.
Ooh, I'm so interested. Okay.
Okay, so this is the Camp Champ one.
Yeah, I remember that.
This is the summer camp one.
Uh-huh.
So I'm pulling up the plot on Wikipedia again.
The only thing I remember is a little girl at camp wants to be Camp Champ, and there was some sort of like demon shape-shifting whatever who took the form of a kid.
There super was. There's a lot of like literal demons in like Care Bear shit. It's really funny.
So funny that that's a recurring motif.
Yeah, it's like it's not the same movie again, but it follows the same formula for sure. So not taking that into account, this is weird. I don't know how any of this is supposed to work, but in the beginning of the movie, there's a boat. The first shot is like a boat. And we see these two characters that we've never seen before, True Heart Bear and Noble Heart Horse, who, as I mentioned before, does not look like a horse. Yeah, God. They are just on this boat with a bunch of baby Care Bears and Care Bear cousins below deck, like sleeping. And here's the thing, they have blank stomachs. So they're not like full Care Bears yet, I guess. Where these babies came from, never explained. So, where these guardians came from, never explained.
So they're new Care Bears, like all the babies are new Care Bear characters.
They are not.
No,
that's the thing.
So
that's the thing. So it's not a new generation. It's fucking like Tenderheart and Grumpy Bear and like Braveheart Lion. It's all the original characters from the
prequel.
Not really. That's the thing.
Weird. Okay.
Like the first like quarter of the movie could be a prequel, and then the rest of it is just like a normal Care Bears movie. I'll get into it. Give me a sec. I'll get there. So this guardian like. These two, True Heart and Noble Heart, are like leading these Care Bear babies to safety. They just call them the Cubs. And there's this...
The Care Bear Cubsons.
Cubsons. So, you know the shape-shifting demon? His name is Darkheart.
I remember Darkheart, yeah.
Darkheart!
Because
guy.
there is a character in... Marvel Comics, he's a Ghost Rider villain, and his name is also Darkheart, and it's very funny.
Yeah.
He literally shares a name.
So Darkheart is a shape-shifting demon that just, like, follows these guardians with their, like, cubs and turns into, like, a sea serpent and, like, tries to kill them, I guess. And
great.
So True Heart and Noble Heart are able to, like, get out of the situation or whatever. And then they meet this floating big-ass star with, like, eyebrows.
God. Oh, good Lord.
I sent you a picture of him when I was watching the movie. I don't know what he is. I guess he's, like, God, maybe? But he's like, True Heart and Noble Heart Bear have demonstrated immense caring. I will task you with making sure everyone on the planet cares about each other or whatever. And your duty is to take care of these Care Bears and Care Bear cousins so they can continue your work, whatever, when the time comes. So this star, God, I guess.
Care Bears meet God.
I guess. So God, I suppose, bestows upon all of these characters their, like, belly badges, indicating their, like, personalities and, like, sort of their powers. Because they can, like, manifest things from their, like, stomachs, which is kind of weird.
Oh, so they're like a Green Lantern.
A little bit, but it's only, like Tenderheart can just make big floating hearts because he just has a heart on his stomach. So it's weird. It's super weird. This movie is very strange. So we cut to... They live in the clouds now, in the Kingdom of Caring. And there's, like, this castle...
Not Care-a-Lot.
No, not Care-a-Lot. It's something different. I was confused by that, too, the first time I rewatched this, like, yesterday. Yeah, it's not Care-a-Lot. It's just the Kingdom of Caring. So, they have, like, this nursery thing, and they have to take care of these babies, while also keeping an eye out for Darkheart, who's, like, his whole thing is he wants to, like, destroy them and, like, make everybody not care anymore or whatever. So, cut to, it's summer camp time. So... the three kids characters' names are John, Dawn, and Christy is the one that wants to be camp champ. Mm-hmm. She is voiced by Cree Summer as well, same as Kim in the previous movie.
Great.
So they're just kind of recycling.
John, Dawn, and was it
Christy?
Christy.
Okay.
For some reason, it just makes me think of the Nickelodeon show Nicky, Ricky, Dicky, and Dawn.
I'm so sorry for Dickie.
Yeah.
So, Christy, John, and Dawn are at a summer camp. Another thing, there's no adults in this movie at all. Absolutely none. There's no camp counselors. There's no parents. There's
completely
nothing.
Unsupervised.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the kids like run the camp. It's weird. So like John, Dawn, and Christy are fucking losers that don't win any races. They're not good at swimming. They're not good at like anything. So this like Chad ass like 10-year-old keeps kicking the shit out of them at like every sport and keeps being like, "Oh, you guys have to do trash duty because you guys suck and I'm the camp champ." And it's like, where are your fucking parents? Where are like any adults?
Maybe the camp counselors were there and like all the kids just like strung them up on like the flagpole or whatever.
I guess
on the first day they were like, "We run the camp now."
Yeah, the kids had like a fucking mutiny. It's like Lord of the Flies.
The inmates run the asylum now.
Yeah, honestly, but like these kids are fucking nightmarish to each other. And like I don't even know this kid's name. Like Chad, I'm gonna call him Chad. But he's, like, mean, and he's, like, so whatever. Funny. And then Christy is like, "I'm gonna run away from camp." And then John and Dawn are like, "Shit, us too." So they run off into the woods unsupervised, so they're gonna get eaten by a fucking, like, bear or whatever. Not a Care Bear, a regular bear. So Christy meets Darkheart, who is like shape-shifting and like poses as like a kid, and she makes this like demonic contract with him where like he's like, "I'm gonna give you all this like special like physical ability so you can be the camp champ, but I need you to do me a favor later. When I return, you need to do me this favor."
Leo, can I just say that the character's name that you're thinking of, his name is in fact Camp Champ. That is
my god.
That is his given name.
His name is just Camp Champ.
they didn't bother.
Fuck it. I'm calling him Chad.
It's so funny.
So she makes like this contract with like basically a demon. Mm-hmm. And so she like wins at everything. But like John and Dawn went off separately from Christy and they got lost. But they found True Heart Bear, who was sent on a mission to like help these kids because they were like sad or whatever. They're not dealing with like actual problems. They're just making sure kids aren't sad. Yeah. They're all orphans nice. Too. All of the kids like just so happen to be orphans.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. They're like all, I don't know why. They're just always
just
orphans.
Like the Boo Brothers.
I guess, yeah. But so the John and Dawn are like siblings. They meet up with Tenderheart, and Swift-Heart Rabbit, who's a baby at the time, stows away. Aww. Yeah, she's cute. So they meet not Tenderheart, Trueheart, and Trueheart brings them back to the Kingdom of Caring, and is like, "Oh shit, me and Nobleheart have to like go do something. Hey, watch all of these babies for us. All of them. Watch all of them for us." And so they're like, okay, cool. So they're having to take care of these babies. And then they have a good time and they like bond with the children. Then they feel better about being able to like do things because they were like, "Oh, I can't run or whatever, but I can also," their thing was like, "You can share your feelings. Anyone can share their feelings," which is like cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're not super talented, you can still be a good friend and like a good
emotionally
person.
Vulnerable.
Yeah, it's like pretty nice. It's like a decent sentiment. Good. But I'm not reading the Wikipedia article. I'll switch tabs. But I just know this movie because I watched it literally yesterday. But anyway, they babysit the cubs. The Trueheart sends them back to camp, and then they meet up with Christy, and Christy just like kicks ass at everything. She's so good at running and jumping and swimming and whatever. Mm-hmm. And then she's like camp champ now, whatever. Mm-hmm. Cut back to the Kingdom of Caring. This is where it gets fucking weird.
Okay.
So, there is a montage of all of these characters growing up over presumably a couple of years. And they're all living together as children, But in the first movie, the Care Bears don't know who the Care Bear cousins are. And the Care Bears have stomach badges, but the cousins don't. Later on, they do. But in the sequel, they're all friends, they all grow up together, and have those badges on their stomach.
So the second movie is a reboot, even though it's called the movie 2.
Yeah, it just retcons everything.
That's like, so weird.
There's like sequences where like like Proud Heart Cat and like Funshine Bear like hang out as babies, like as kids. They don't fucking know each other in the first movie. They're like, who are these clowns? Who are these not bears that look like us? So that's weird. And also, this montage takes place, it's a really sweet song. I really enjoy the like the sequence of it, actually. But so these characters grow up together, presumably over some time. It takes time to get to be from like a baby to an adult. I don't know how Care Bears age, but it's probably at least a year. So when that segment is over and all these Care Bears are like adults, we cut back to summer camp and it's still the same situation. The kids are still the same age. Christy's camp champ and is now like being an asshole to all the other campers, especially Chad, but he was a dick, so he kind of deserved it, to be honest. But like this whole like this could be a separate movie. Like these characters are like, so much time has passed and it's like, oh, back on Earth it's different. Which I guess you could make the argument that it's like, oh, time moves differently, but it's never addressed.
It's ever. like in The Good Place when they say that like on Earth time moves in like a linear line, but in like the afterlife time moves in a Jeremy Bearimy. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Time in the Kingdom of Caring, and I guess by extension Care-a-Lot moves in a Jeremy Bearimy.
I guess. So, and then I don't actually remember what part of the movie this is. When they grow up... Oh, no! It was True Heart and Noble Heart separated the cubs when they were babies. So, the baby bears live in Care-a-Lot, and the baby everybody else lives in the Forest of Feelings. Which kind of makes sense in how they meet later on. But they're also, like, adults, and also they all have the stomach badges, which isn't the case in the first movie. I'm reading way too much into this, but it's definitely worth mentioning. Yeah, this is part of the reason. This is part of the reason why it was so not received well critically, because I guess like movie critics were like, I'm reporting all this. I know in my heart of hearts it's not that deep. Yeah. It's not. It's just not. They're movies for kids to sell toys. It's not that deep at all. I'm not angry about this movie not making sense. I think it's very funny, and I think it's very interesting to talk about those, like, creative decisions, but I'm not angry at all. It's not that fucking deep. But these critics were, like, so mad that that the Care Bears lore was tarnished.
Roger Ebert is like, you can't just, like, ignore the intrinsic lore of the Care Bears franchise. Just one movie in, you can't do that. It's not right.
And it's like, technically, yes, that's not a good call to make as like a movie, but also like, who cares? Yeah, it's whatever. It's a silly movie about bears that love people. It's not that big of a deal. So that's part of the reason why this like whole timeline issue is part of the reason why it was so like not very well received critically. Oh, it only made a third of the money that the first one did, just as like a reference. People didn't really like this one either, which sucks because I think it's a pretty fun movie to watch, and I think it's honestly more interesting to watch than the first one. Yeah. But it was not very well received. So
I definitely liked Doug Game of Critics' review of the second one more than the first one.
I think the movie is just more interesting in general. Yeah. But so back to the plot, I suppose. Christy's bitchy. She's like real mean to everybody now that she's the camp champ. And then Darkheart comes back and is like, hey, I'm making good on that favor that you promised me. So she's basically helping him capture the Care Bears so he can, like, destroy them or whatever and be, like, top bad guy in the world, etc. But then she starts to feel bad about it. She's like, okay, I did what you asked me to. Like, now leave me alone. I don't want to keep doing this. And he's like, I could take away your powers, I could take away the fact that you're camp champ. And it's like, dude, you're gonna, like, kill these bears. I don't think you should prioritize being the camp champ over, like...
Yeah.
I don't know. But she, like, continues to do it. But Darkheart, like, falls out of a canoe, hits his head, and almost fucking drowns. And, yeah, this villain sucks. He's, like, really stupid. He's, like, standing up in the canoe, and, like... Because that was, like, a trap that they laid to, like, capture the Care Bears. He's, like, standing up in the canoe. It, like, rocks. He hits his head on the side and then falls in the water, and he, like, almost dies. So Christy saves him. I actually
got myself a headache from, like, laughing so hard at that.
Yeah. So Christy saves him, and he's like, why did you do that? If you knew what was good for you, you would have just let me, like, drown. And she's like, even if you're evil or whatever, you're still a person. I'm like, he's literally not, though. He's not a person. Yeah. He's like, he turned into a sea serpent in the first scene of the movie. He's literally not a human being.
He's literally called Darkheart.
He's like a monster.
His name is literally Darkheart. Like, you can...
So honestly, she probably should have just let him die, but it's a kid's movie, so we're not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he, like... the Care Bears, like, lay a trap to, like, find him and, like, spring the others, but it's actually a trap for them to get caught so they can release all of the ones that were previously captured. There's a scene where they have to, like, get the key from Darkheart, and he's, like, taking a nap, and he's, like, he keeps turning into different animals, like, while he's sleeping, and Grumpy Bear's trying to, like, grab the key off his neck. It's a pretty, like, fun sequence.
Is it time for a game of disappearing bears?
Oh, I skipped that scene because it was stupid. It's like, I'll go over it very briefly. In, like, the middle of the movie, Darkheart shows up in Care-a-Lot and is like, hey, I'm the caring meter reader. I'm here to look at your caring meter. And he's, like, fucking with it and breaking it, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're, like, throwing a party for whatever reason. And he's like, oh, okay, y'all go play some games. And he's just trying to, like, capture them, like, while they're playing games. And he's like, oh, we'll play hide and seek. And they all spread out. And he's like, time for a game of disappearing bears. Which is, like, probably the funniest line of that entire movie.
Yeah, it's very good.
And it's, like, not funny for the reasons that they wanted it to be.
Yeah,
if they wanted it to be funny at all.
It's just such an absurd line.
It's so dumb. But
disappearing bears.
I skipped the disappearing bears line. I apologize. But
how could you?
Yeah, I know you were looking forward to that.
I was really looking forward to it. It's the only thing it's one of the few things I remember from this movie.
So, have you seen these? Obviously you've seen the Wonderland one.
I've seen only Dougie McCritic's reviews and the third one that we watched yesterday. I watched Care Bears, I think it was like Adventures in Joke-a-Lot or something.
Journey to Joke-a-Lot, yeah.
That's the one, yeah. That's one I watched when I was a kid.
I haven't seen it, but I probably would watch it now, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Just for fun. Might have to be high for it, but I'd watch it. But yeah, so they're like trying to free the Care Bears, and they're trying to get the key from Darkheart, and he wakes up, and like the kids come down into like the basement of this like secret cabin that he has his like lair in. That's where they're all at. But he wakes up and is like, fuck, I'm gonna kill y'all or whatever, and he like traps the Care Bears in these like crystals in like a chandelier, and he like zaps Christy too in doing so, and he like suddenly feels bad about it because she saved him at the lake. Which, like, he like, feels bad about Christy being, like, zapped and, like, crystallized. And, so he's like, oh, the chandelier breaks and all of the bears are freed and they're trying to, like, help Christy. And he's like, you gotta help her. Like, she shouldn't have, this wasn't meant to happen. I didn't mean to do that or whatever. Like, she saved me before. I need to, like, help her. Suddenly having a change of heart. It's not super well written.
A change of his dark heart.
I guess, yeah. And then, like, the Care Bears, like, circle around,
Oh, this is where they all chant that they believe or whatever.
we care.
Oh,
we
God,
care.
yeah.
Yeah, it's very like Pokemon the first movie where they just like
really is just Pokemon the first
they
movie.
just like chant that they care about Christy, and she like wakes up, and then like Darkheart gives up his evil ways and just like becomes a normal kid, which I liked in the first movie because Nicholas was a normal kid that just wanted to have friends and like fell in with like the wrong crowd, which in this case was an evil book. But he was a normal ass kid that was deep down a good person. And so at the end of the movie, when they're like, hey, we care about you, like you can do better than this and we'll like help you do so, it makes sense for this character's arc to be like, oh, okay, I can just be a good person and people will like me. Darkheart is a fucking demon.
Yeah.
Where does this come from? Like, if he is a being of pure evil and wants to, like, kill these characters of light and, like, destroy, like, all the goodness in the world, why the fuck would he have a change of heart because some girl, like, got zapped? It doesn't make sense for this character's, like, archetype, I guess.
Yeah.
But, like, it's nice enough. It's for kids. It's, like, you know,
a redemption arc.
Yeah, it's like if people care about you and you make the decision to be a good person, you can be a good person. That's good. That's okay. But, I don't know. He's literally a demon. Literally. So I just kind of came
So
out
is
of
Crowley.
nowhere. Yeah, but I
Your
like
sweet
him.
Babu.
I love him. Crowley. Sorry. Whatever. It's stupid. I'm pronouncing it Crowley. But, yeah. So, that was weird. It was a weird ending.
Yeah.
You know what? I think the reason it bothers me so much is that there wasn't really much build up to it. Like
Yeah.
there was the scene where she saves him at the lake and he's like, "Why did you do that?" And like kind of starts to think like, "Okay, cool, being a good person benefits me at least." But it's not addressed again until that scene. So it would have been okay, I think, if there was like maybe one more instance of him like doubting himself or whatever. But at the end of the movie, he has like red eyes because of course he does. At the end of the movie, they're blue because he's a good person now and he's like a normal human being.
Yeah.
And then they all go swimming in the lake and then the movie's over. So that's like cool.
That's cute.
It's like a decent movie. I thought it was like pretty interesting. There's a lot of like kind of cool scenes. I have my thoughts written down. In summation, the timeline makes no sense. The ending is really cheesy, but it's for children, and seeing the characters that I liked a lot as a kid as babies was very cute.
Yeah.
It's a cute movie and it's pretty fun, so I'm not gonna like shit on it. It's fine. I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah. So
One
when you
thing-
said go
Go ahead.
So when you said that people responded to it, like the critical reaction was really negative, and you said for weird reasons, was it just because of like the timeline not making sense and critics being mad about it, or
No, there was
there's
a
more? Okay.
different reason. They compared it to two key other pieces of media. Faust, like the German legend of like
Excuse me?
like making a deal with a demon, like a Faustian contract. They thought
Yeah.
that like the critics were like, "Oh, you're just doing this story." Yeah, but like adapting it for kids. That's fascinating.
That's actually like kind of interesting. Also, like Star Wars is the most like unoriginal movie ever made. Like it's literally just like it's literally just Joseph Campbell's like The Hero of a Thousand Faces with just like a sci-fi like world slapped on top of it. There's nothing original about the story of Star Wars, but people love it. And
People
but, like
critics were really weird about the whole Faustian contract thing
That's
that
so
happens in
interesting.
this movie. They were like, when I was reading about this movie on like Wikipedia and getting like the critical like response to it and looking into like production details and stuff, it kept coming back to this. And I'm like,
is it like Christian moms, or is it like
No,
just because it's unoriginal?
like legitimate film critics. I think it's because it's unoriginal.
That's
and it's
so
like
weird. That's a very modern like cinema sinsy like argument of like, well, this isn't a completely original movie, so therefore it's bad.
Yeah, and also like deal with the devil is a very common trope.
Yeah.
You can't get mad at people for using that because it's like it's almost like a genre at this point.
Yeah.
There's
The Lion
tons
King-
of stories
The
about
Lion
it.
King's literally based on Hamlet, but for kids. Like,
Yeah.
But this movie being Faust for kids is bad because whatever. That's very interesting.
I think it's a good... I think they implemented that trope in that story pretty well. So the fact that people are so, like, weird about it is, like, surprising to me.
That's interesting. What was the other movie they were comparing it to?
A specific rendition of Peter Pan, where I think it was, like, a stage play or something, where Peter Pan turns to the audience and is like, you know, tell us you care, or whatever.
Oh, when you have to, like, believe in Tinkerbell so she lives or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. Oh, True Heart Bear, in the scene where they're, like, chanting to, like, revive Christy, literally turns to the audience.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, tell us you care, like, shout it, like, whatever, like, literally, like, addresses the audience, like, specifically.
Interesting.
When it got to that point, I was just, like, watching it on my iPad. I had to, like, look away. I was, like, it was, like, kind of secondhand embarrassment-y. But overall, I enjoy the movie. It's whatever. However, there's one thing that I wanted to discuss when it comes to the main themes of these two movies, the first two, that I think is, like, kind of interesting and, like, pretty cool. The main idea of both of these movies and, like, the overarching theme is just caring. Not loving unconditionally, not always being a good person, not, like, being selfless all the time. It's just giving a shit. And I think that's, like, a pretty cool message, because you can't always love somebody unconditionally. Sometimes, like, you're selfish. Sometimes you're kind of a bad person. People make mistakes.
Sometimes they're kind of a bad person.
But, like, as long as you give a shit and put forth the effort and care about being a good person and care about your friends and the people in your life, you're on the right track. And I think that that's a pretty cool way of framing that for kids.
That is interesting. Yeah.
Which, because most of the time it's like, you know, be good, or, like, always, I don't know.
Brush your teeth.
Yeah, it's, like, very abstract, almost unattainable concepts for kids that are still, like, learning how to be people, much less good people.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's that deep. I don't think this was at all what they were going for. I think it was just because care rhymes with bear, and that's the theme that they chose to go with. However, I think in execution, it's kind of interesting and, like, a pretty nice theme.
Yeah.
Like, the Care Bears teach us to give a shit about ourselves and other people, and that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. Yeah.
Care Bears Adventure in Wonderland, however, does not follow that theme, I would say.
Does it follow anything?
I think it is...
Aside from the story of Alice in Wonderland.
I don't think there was much of a theme to this movie at all.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've been taking up a lot of audio time. I want you to start out with, like, how you felt about this movie.
It's... So, I know you're not a fan of Alice in Wonderland, like, the story. Like, obviously...
Not so much.
Obviously, Lewis Carroll's, like, a trash heap of a human being, but I like the aesthetic and, like, the story and, like, the... I get the appeal of Alice in Wonderland a lot. I don't like the Tim Burton version, obviously. I think that's terrible. But I do really like the original Disney movie. I like other, like, fun cartoon adaptations. This might be one of my favorite renditions of Alice in Wonderland.
Really? I'm so glad, because I really liked this movie as a kid. I watched it all the time. It was so fun.
Yeah, I really enjoy, like, the way that they do things, like the Cheshire Cat is, like, this rapping CeeLo Green kind of character.
Who, like, blends into the background and has, like, shifting, like...
He has the
patterns.
Shifting patterns, like a Chowder character. It's very fun and, like, very aesthetically appealing.
Yeah, I honestly, like, really enjoyed the Cheshire Cat. Usually, like, I don't know. Usually, whenever they make something rap in, like, a kids movie, it's always, like, cringy and bad. I think he was, like, okay. He was, like, pretty good.
He works a lot better than say, like, the Smurfs rapping in the Smurfs movie.
Oh, God.
Or, like, I don't know, just anything adjacent to that.
They definitely made Grumpy Bear rap, too, for, like,
that
a
was
second.
Pretty funny.
It was funny.
Beats. Oh. So, yeah, okay, so this movie is literally just Alice in Wonderland, but the Care Bears are, like...
They're just there.
It's like the Care Bears wrote a self-insert Alice in Wonderland fanfic.
Yeah.
it's kind of how it plays out.
Yeah, it's honestly, if you remove the Care Bears from this movie, it wouldn't really be that different.
Or if Alice in Wonderland wrote like her memoirs and just like wanted to throw in like the Care Bears to get like some brand recognition in there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Is how it feels. I like the fact that Swift Heart Rabbit's uncle is the White Rabbit from the Alice in Wonderland story. I think that's fun.
Yeah, I think that was like, it was kind of like an okay, that's how you're justifying this, but
yeah.
Ooh, it's thundering.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah, like, they justified having the Care Bears in this movie at all by being like, oh yeah, the White Rabbit is Swift Heart Rabbit's, like, uncle.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Which is like, okay.
Yeah.
Whatever. It might as well be the case.
Yeah, I really like the look of Wonderland, like all the different colors and like the checkerboard sort of like ground.
Yeah.
And I the flamingo, the croquet flamingo is like Australian.
He's just Australian for some reason. Yeah.
Oh yeah, mate. Oh, we're gonna get to the Red Queen of Hearts. And we're gonna get there.
Alright, princess, let's give it a go.
Let's give it a right hot go. Oh, and the wizard was an interesting addition. He's the villain of this movie, and he's just like...
He's just bad Jafar.
He really is just Jafar. He doesn't have a name, he's just the Wizard of Wonderland.
Yep.
And his whole thing is he wants to bring order and, like reason to Wonderland to make it, like, boring and, like, have rules.
They definitely did the whole, like, oh, it's turning into, like, black and white instead of color, like, that.
Mm-hmm.
A little heavy-handed.
I mean, yeah, but I think... I remember Dougie McCritic's review of Alice in Wonderland, the Tim Burton movie from a while back when I watched his videos before, I realized that he wasn't very funny or good.
Or a good person.
Yeah. He makes the point that in this movie the conflict makes more sense, like the villain, because he's trying to bring order to a world of no order.
Yeah.
Whereas in the live action Tim Burton Alice in Wonderland, it's just the Queen of Hearts is evil. Even though, like, they're all like she's crazy, we can't have her in charge, even though they're all crazy.
Yeah.
So, like, what's the point? And it's like this weird, boring, like, political struggle between the princesses or whatever. I don't know. And then there's
it's like the White Queen and the Red Queen are like at odds or whatever.
The White Queen is like the boring one, and it would have been more interesting if she was the villain.
Yeah, honestly.
Like, she should have been the bad guy, and it would have been like a fun little twist.
Yeah, there has to be like any sort of conflict between, or like any sort of like what's the word? Contrast between like the way that the world operates and the way that like the villain wants the world to operate. But but if everybody's already fucking crazy and the ruler is crazy and doesn't have any like, I guess, policies in place that are like bad, then like, okay, who cares? Let her take over. Nothing's gonna change.
Yeah, there's a reason that like most Alice in Wonderland stories is just like a road trip movie that with like no real villain. Like the Red Queen is usually like a villain sort of. But like,
she's usually just like kind of a bitch, right? She's not like the main villain, right?
Well, she's usually like sort of played up like the villain in like the last third sometimes in most renditions, but that's mostly just because like, I don't know, she like provides it really is just like a road trip movie. Like,
it really is.
Of Alice like going through Wonderland and seeing weird things and being like, oh, this is weird, and then she leaves. And then it's like, that sure was an interesting little adventure in Wonderland. Oh well, and then the movie's over.
Yeah.
But this scenario where there is like an actual story and a reason for her being in Wonderland, and like there's actually like a plot and like a character arc for Alice. Like it's paper thin. And it is paper thin, her arc of like, I'm not special. And then she like
hated that character. I don't think she bothered me as much as a kid, but like now that I'm an adult and like you and I watching this movie, we're like every 5 minutes this bitch would be like, I'm not special. I'm like, you're literally on an epic adventure to save a kingdom right now.
With the Care Bears.
Stow your bullshit.
In like this magical like fairy tale universe. Like, you jumped through a magic mirror with, like, a anthropomorphic rabbit with a mustache.
Yeah, like...
To, like, go, like, save, like, a kingdom.
But
from,
it is
like,
funny...
a tyrannical wizard.
Who, like, wants to, I don't know, take over and make everything bad and shitty and boring.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You are, like, the centerpiece of, like... an epic adventure. Get over yourself.
And she just kept being like, oh, but, like... I can't do this. I'm not special enough for this. Which, like, I kind of understand, like, the whole self-doubt thing. But they really went, I think, too heavy-handed with it.
Yeah. But I think it's funny because at the end of the movie... I mentioned this to you, like, as we were watching it. I hope I can, like, articulate it better. But I think it's funny because, like, at the end of the movie, the real princess shows up. Because she's, like, taking the place of the Princess of Wonderland. She's, like, filling in because they look similar. But, like, the real princess shows up, so she's still not the special one.
Yeah.
She's, like, second fiddle to the real princess who actually has all these cool powers and shit. And she's just, like, some random-ass girl she's a stunt double, essentially.
It's like in the Lego movie when, you know, they're like, Emmett's the special, and then at the end it's like, there is no special.
Yeah, like, whoever chooses to be, or, like, everyone's special, or whoever rises to the occasion is special,
or Kung Fu
whatever.
Panda, there is no special secret ingredient. Skadoosh.
Skadoosh.
Yeah. I
need to watch those movies. I haven't watched those in a while.
They're really good.
Yeah, I've heard, like, Kung Fu Panda is, like, genuinely some pretty good fucking movies.
I like, cried in the cinema watching Kung Fu Panda 2.
I saw the first one in theaters, but I don't think I saw any of the sequels, actually.
The second one is, like, really good.
That's cool.
I heard great things about the third one, but I haven't seen it yet.
I remember that there was some very nice visuals. I remember the animation was, like, pretty fucking spectacular.
The animation, especially by, like, you know, DreamWorks standards, is, like, really breathtaking in the Kung Fu Panda movies.
Cool. I'll like, have to look into those. Those sound like fun.
Yeah.
But, yeah, as a Care Bears movie, it's eh. But as an Alice in Wonderland adaptation, it's okay. It's, like, pretty good.
It's a really good Alice in Wonderland movie, but it has so little to do with the Care Bears that it may as well just be, like... It's like one of those, like, dollar store Alice in Wonderland, like, Disney, like, it's trying to fool grandparents into thinking it's a Disney movie, so they'll buy it for their kid's birthday. It's like one of those, but, like, with just, like, Care Bear stickers slapped on top of it is kind of because it has so little to do with the characters, but it's still, like, fun.
It's still fun to watch. Like, you still get some, like, pretty funny interactions with the characters. Grumpy Bear makes jokes about being hungry, like, the entire time, which is, like, it's kind of annoying. It's not very
funny, but...
It's kind of annoying, but it's...
It is very funny at the end when he starts rapping along to the Cheshire Cat's tune.
Yeah. Yeah.
And was it Braveheart Lion?
Yes.
He has a line about how he's gonna be munching down on pickled beets.
No, he's gonna put pickled beets, like, on top of ice cream or something horrible like that. Oh,
yeah. And
Grumpy Bear is a menace.
And Braveheart Lion says, pickled beets. Ooh. And then he faints. But he does it twice.
And then they do it twice.
They do it twice during the number. It's so funny.
It's, like, silly. I remember liking that movie a lot as a kid, too.
The music in the movie's really good, actually.
Like, yeah, it's, like, pretty okay.
Not just, like, the rap. Like, using rap stuff in, like, kids' movies is, like, really hit or miss.
Yeah, I agree.
I guess I never miss, huh? But, like, it's very, like, it's either, like, pretty good or, like, Spider-Verse, you know? Like, you know, using, like, actual music.
Yeah,
or
non-diegetic.
Or it's, like... Yeah, or or it's like Shark Tale and it's just really cringy because it's like
Oh,
trying way too
no.
hard to like appeal to the youths. Like, hey, listen to these fat rhymes from Missy Elliott. You know, like, oh,
Yeah.
I know what you kids want to hear. You want to hear "Baby Got Back" in this PG-rated animated family film.
Yeah, perhaps not.
But it works really well in this movie, and like the other little numbers, like the opening number is very pleasant. The little rise and shine.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. And we get to see. Oh my god. I love in media seeing characters interact and just being friends, or like being like domestic, or like going about their daily routines or whatever. Getting that insight into characters makes them more like human to me, so I relate to them better. I really enjoy that. And like the opening scene where it's just like in Carolot and everybody's like, you know, watering their plants or like making breakfast or getting the
waking
mail
up with the sun rising or whatever.
It's so cute. It's adorable. Like,
they're driving past each other in their little cloud cars and they're waving at each other.
Cloud cars. They're so pleasant. Like, Care Bears might not have been adapted very well in the like currently, and like the source material is like greeting cards, and like the original movies might not be like masterpieces, and definitely they were just like shit to sell toys, but like it's cute as hell. It's like they live in the clouds and have cute little gardens and like rainbows and shit everywhere. It's fucking adorable. Like, the aesthetic holds up really well. And honestly, that's what's important, because that's what Care Bears was designed for, to be aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
Now, Care Bears in Wonderland was not very well received again. It was mixed reviews. This one had a $5 million budget as opposed to $2 million for the first one. And I think that...
Interesting.
I think that reads the animation is definitely better.
Okay.
It definitely... Like, the quality of the video that we watched wasn't great, but, like, the shading and, like, the colors and, like, the movements were a lot better in this one. Cause
That's very interesting.
The first one came out...
Was this one theatrically released?
Yes, it was.
Really? Okay, because that's very interesting, because it looks
all three of
like
these were theatrically
that's crazy.
released.
This looks like The Land Before Time too.
Yeah. It sucks because like the animation for the first two weren't excellent. This one honestly like blows them out of the water with like the quality of the animation.
That's crazy to me.
Which is crazy because it's still not that great.
Yeah.
I don't know. It said that they had a $5 million budget and it barely earned back that amount.
Ooh, that sucks.
And so the first movie came out in 1985, the second movie came out in 1986, and this one came out in 1987. So there's not a lot of time at all between all of these movies.
Absolute insanity.
I feel so bad for everyone involved with making these movies.
Holy shit.
Yeah, real bad.
That's absurd. You can't just release 3 movies in the same series in 3 years. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, you do that with, like, direct-to-DVD movies, but, like, they have much lower budgets and, like...
You expect them to look like trash. These are supposed to look nice.
Yeah, they're cheap and easy to make, and, like, that's crazy.
Yeah, the Care Bears movie 2 came out the same year that the Transformers, the movie, came out. Wow. And I can't help comparing the animation between those movies because it was like similar ideas, similar like, you know, toy selling movie thing, and like not similar animation styles, but like it was around that same time. And I gotta say, the Transformers movie animation isn't great. I think it's better than the second Care Bears movie, but not by a whole lot. So I guess that's fair, I suppose. But yeah, these came out really like closely after I think a lot of these movies were created like around the same time, like they were being worked on concurrently, which is a lot. But in 1986, the Care Bears family TV show was released around the same time as the second movie. And I watched that a lot as a kid, and I've actually been watching a couple of episodes yesterday and the day before. I have to be high to watch the show. It's like not it's not excellent. The animation is even worse. The characters interact more so. They have more personalities, I think, because they don't have these like big ultimate story arcs with like a big main villain or whatever. It's very like, oh, there's a problem in Care-a-Lot, like Braveheart.
I think I prefer stuff like that from things like this, though.
Honestly,
I like a Winnie the Pooh movie shouldn't be about like, Pooh, we have to save the universe.
Yeah,
Father. Like that doesn't work.
To save the universe.
Pooh, you're gonna have to go on without me.
Yo, no! Tigger just fucking dies.
Like that doesn't
buddy,
work.
old pal. Yeah, I agree. And I watched a couple of episodes, or I watched like the first couple. Not great, though. It was like the first couple of episodes of like the first season, and they have the villain of this one. His name is No Heart. He was the hooded figure that I sent you with like the eyebrows that just like stuck out of his like hood. That's No Heart. He's the main villain, and he has a sidekick named Beastly, or Mr. Beastly, who is it's literally the same exact character model as like the Tweedledee and Tweedledum characters from Adventure in Wonderland. Literally the same character model. I'll have to send you a picture of him later. But same character design, but he's not wearing clothes. And he has like a pilot's hat on. He's horrible. But in the second season, I remember this a lot as a kid because my parents fucking hated this chick. No Heart has a niece, and her name is Shrieky.
Oh no.
And you can imagine just how horrible this character is.
Oh yikes.
I haven't seen any of the new season, or the second season, recently. I'll have to go back and watch it. But yeah, Shrieky sucked. She obviously had like a horrible voice and like yelled a bunch and was just like really, really mean. But I remember her a lot from when I used to watch that show as a kid.
I really like her design.
I forgot what she looked like. Put it in the chat.
She has like purple hair, like green eyebrows, and like a green stripe in her ponytail.
What?
I kind of like really dig her like design. I think she's fun.
Oh yeah, she looks like an old lady, but she's also like 10.
I like her. She's like, she's a fashion disaster, and
she's
stan her.
She's like if Little My was evil.
Yeah.
She's like if Little My was big and evil.
Definitely.
That's so funny. I watched some of Care Bears Unlock the Magic, the newest one that came out like this year. It's fine. They tried to give it more like plot, and they have like a kind of like an RV that they live in, because I think they got like, I don't know.
They got kicked out of Caroline.
No, it's like they got
evicted.
They got trapped outside of Care-a-Lot. I've seen a couple of episodes, and like where I'm watching them, they're all out of order, and there's not a lot of them.
So there is like an ongoing like plot thread.
Yeah, kind of, but I
Interesting.
have yet to understand it fully. Though I've only seen like maybe 3 or 4 episodes, so that's obviously like me being like, I don't get it, is like dumb. But I did watch the first episode that kind of like establishes the plot, and I didn't really see how it tied into later episodes, to be honest. But I think that's my fault, but I'll just have to perhaps watch more if I care. But the art style is really cute. If I care. The art style is really cute. The backgrounds are beautiful. Like, I love the texture that they do for like it looks like paint strokes. Like, you can tell the way that they like drew the backgrounds, and it looks really cool, and I really enjoy it. The characters are, I think they're trying to flesh out the characters more, but they're still kind of like Funshine Bear is more of a bro, which I think is kind of funny. The sun on his tummy has sunglasses now, which I think is pretty funny. Grumpy Bear is like about the same. The voice acting is weird.
Oh yeah, you
'Cause-
told me that
Because Tenderheart, who, if you recall the way Rudolph sounded kind of odd and like silly.
Mhm.
Tenderheart sounds like a grown-ass fucking adult, and he's like, we have to get them back to the caring tower, blah, blah, blah. It's, like, terrifying. And Bedtime Bear is, he's, like, a scientist, I guess. And he's got, like, a British accent, and he's got, like, a really deep voice. It's really weird. Like, it makes me realize how many boy Care Bears there are, because a lot of them have just, like, really deep voices.
Mm-hmm. That's really interesting. Yeah. Also, I just looked up the art style for Unlock the Magic. It's so cute.
It's super cute.
Yeah.
I do enjoy the 80s look a lot. I think it looks fluffier, and it's very, like, nostalgic, and it's a solid art style. A little weird, especially given the way that the horses don't look like horses. But I think it works. It's a good style. But this new one it's just cute. It's real nice. I, like, appreciate it for what it is. I could watch more of it, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like the character models in this. They look very, like modern Cal Arts, Steven Universe-y style.
Yeah, which I feel like a
Kinda.
lot of people dislike, but I enjoy it. I think it's cute.
I love it. Yeah.
So yeah, I guess to sum up, this was something that I, like, was absolutely obsessed with as a kid, and I don't think it holds up as well, unfortunately. But, like, it still served its purpose. It still was, like, a pretty big hit, like, commercially, during that period of time. I'm glad that people are, like, still looking back on it and trying to reboot it and bring it into, like, a modern, context to varying degrees of success. But, I don't know, I think it's cute and fun and it has, like, a decent message, so I'm not gonna shit on it. I just don't think it's as, it's not as worth getting obsessed with, I suppose.
Yeah. But it definitely is fun.
It's cute, it's fun, and it's ultimately for children.
Yeah.
And I'm in my 20s, so I'm not gonna, like... I'm not gonna get angry about the fact that the Care Bears movie 2, A New Generation, didn't follow the historic lore of the Care Bears.
What would you rate this? He's thinking about it.
I think I would rate it 10 because there's 10 original Care Bears.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're giving it a different rating style than what I've been doing.
A 10 out of 10 original Care Bears.
Very good. I appreciate it.
I'm curious what the original Care Bears were. I'm gonna look that up.
Yeah.
And I want to read them because they have very not super interesting names. They're not super creative. No, not 10 Commandments, you fucking weirdo.
Commandment the first. Grumpy Bear.
Okay, so the 10 original Care Bears, I guess for the sake of the greeting cards, these make a lot of sense. Bedtime Bear, Grumpy Bear, Cheer Bear, Tenderheart Bear, Funshine Bear, Wish Bear, Friend Bear, Good Luck Bear, Love-A-Lot Bear, and Birthday Bear.
Very good.
Again, not very creative names.
Shall I take the reins on the next one, or do you have something
For
in
the-
mind?
For the next deep dive, I think you have more stuff planned than I do, so yeah, you can take on the next one.
Cool, because I already have notes ready for the next episode, which should be on the production history of The Emperor's New Groove.
Ooh, yeah, that one's really interesting.
Yeah, which is a very fascinating story with a lot of twists and turns and reveals that you won't see coming a mile away.
Yeah.
I'm also I also got some other ones in the works. This won't be a deep dive topic, but I do want to mention it to you before we go because I want you to know about this. Did you know they're doing do you know the Banana Splits? The Hanna-Barbera band?
Yeah, there was like an elephant with glasses. That's like the only thing I remember. Yeah.
So the Banana Splits was a TV show from the 70s, which is or late 60s, early 70s, which is like I think it's like part live action, part animation. It was done by Hanna-Barbera, and it's like a musical show where the Banana Splits are like, they're funny animal characters, but they're also like a band.
Yeah.
And they have like little adventures. It's very like weird and psychedelic. Fun little fact I just found out looking at this Wikipedia article. The first season was episodes in the first season were directed by Richard Donner, who would later go on to direct Superman and Superman 2 and The Goonies.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like The Omen. Like he's a huge like director.
That's really funny.
I guess he got his start on the Banana Splits Adventure Hour.
Hey, we've got to start somewhere.
Yeah. So I just found this out like a little bit ago. They're doing on Sci-Fi Channel this year.
I just saw. I googled the Banana Splits to see what they looked like. I just found what you're telling me. Oh my god.
Yeah, there's an R-rated horror adaptation. Will be released on DVD and digital this summer. It will be airing this summer, yeah, and it will be airing on the Sci-Fi Channel later in the year. It's gonna be like a Five Nights at Freddy's kind of thing, I guess, because they're like weird animatronic. God. Yeah, it's so weird, right?
That's so funny. I might watch that. That sounds hilarious.
Same here. Yeah, it's so absurd to be that like this was announced like way earlier this year in like February or January, and I only found out about it literally yesterday. It's so weird though, like that it exists, that they're going through with making this, that it's on the Sci-Fi Channel.
I think it's funny.
That it's like
I think it's funny because like whoever wanted to adapt the Banana Splits into a modern context took one look at these motherfuckers and was like, this has to be a horror movie. It will not go over as anything other than something pants shittingly terrifying. Because these dudes are ugly as sin. They are so scary looking.
They're pretty creepy, yeah. And like, I don't know, it's also the fact that like they looked at it and thought, oh yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, that's weird. It's all very strange, and I really hope that when it comes out, it's like worthy of doing an episode on, because I really want to like watch and talk about it.
I think it'd be really interesting. Oh my god, their names are horrible. Fleagle, Bingo, Drooper, and Snorky. What in God's name? That's horrible.
Oh my god, it's so crazy.
That's really funny. Officially rated R for horror, violence, and gore. That sounds lit as fuck. I don't like horror. I love gore. Gore is fun to me.
Really? That's interesting, 'cause I like horror, but I hate gore. Gore
is so funny. It's like the least scary part, because it's rubber tubes and ketchup.
I know, it just makes me squeamish. I don't know. It makes me uncomfy.
I don't mind it at all. As long as I know it's fake, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Even real gore doesn't really bother me too much, honestly.
Yeah. I also want to do a deep dive at some point on We're Back, a Dinosaur Story, which I know is like one of Tyler's personal favorites.
Ooh, maybe we could bring Tyler on that episode, because they really like that movie.
Because like I remember reading up on like the production of that movie, and that's also an interesting story.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Like they got some like drama going on. It's based on a book apparently, which is wild.
I think I knew that. I don't think I remember that, but I think I knew that in the deep crevices of my mind.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff I want to. I also like. Eventually, I'm gonna have to go back to the Scooby-Doo bin.
Oh yeah.
And like
the pile of Scooby-Doo movies.
Yeah. Well, and also like the Hanna-Barbera Superstars 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
It was like the Good, the Bad, and the Huckleberry Hound and whatever else.
Yeah. I'll have to watch Emperor's New Groove to like keep up with you on the next episode.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's on Netflix.
I thought so too.
Yeah, it'll be on Netflix until Disney Plus comes out, and then everything will be ripped away from Netflix and thrown onto
fucking
Disney
ridiculous. And I'm just gonna watch everything illegally if that's the case.
Yeah, same. I mean, like I already have Emperor's New Groove on Blu-ray,
That makes sense.
along with Kronk's New Groove, which was included. Did I tell you about like the Cusco roleplay Twitter account
Yes.
that like replied
yes.
to one of my tweets? So there's a Cusco like roleplay account on Twitter. I tweeted maybe a couple of years ago, like, I really want to buy Emperor's New Groove on Blu-ray because Jessie has a problem with buying Blu-rays. What has she bought recently? Nothing. Because I have no money.
Yeah.
But I tweeted, like, I want to buy the Emperor's New Groove on Blu-ray. But the problem is that it only comes with Kronk's New Groove. So, like, there's no way to get it without getting Kronk's New Groove, which I don't really want to get.
That's so funny.
And this dude, Cusco, tweets at me out of nowhere and just says, you could always get it and not watch Kronk's New Groove. And I was like, that's fair. And I was like, I wonder what this dude's Twitter is like.
Who's
and
this clown?
It's mostly him in character as Cusco, like, telling people not to watch Kronk's New Groove and sad posting that his girlfriend left him and, like, being, like, depressing and, like, I'm so sad and lonely. Every day is a chore to get up in the morning.
Oh
like,
my
just being
god.
really heavy stuff from this Cusco. Like, I miss you, Melina. Please come back.
Oh,
let me try again.
Cusco's gay. Oh my god. Come on.
It's so funny. I don't know if this is, like, this dude's, like, working through some stuff or if he's just, like, a top tier shit poster. I don't know.
Maybe. That'd be really funny.
But it's just so funny.
That is
like,
hilarious.
I found it a few weeks ago and it's like, it's just this, it's more of the same.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good note to end on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, shall we wrap it up?
Where on the World Wide Web can they find you, Leo?
I am on Twitter.
Oh.
I am on Twitter and Instagram at I'm on Twitter at Gouacheboy, GOUACHE_boy, and I'm on Instagram. I'm just gonna start plugging my art one. It's at GBoydles, G.Boydles on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Come see what I'm doing. We're wanting to record another episode of Best Boys Proper because we've got some cool summer stuff that we're working on, and we're gonna be in school again during the fall, so we'll be talking about some of the stuff that we're working on then. I still want to have a guest on, so we could have Tyler on as a guest, or perhaps our fan.
Yeah.
Our singular fan. So
Yeah.
we're going to be doing that. Watch out for that, I suppose.
Our number one fan, because they are our one fan.
Yeah. So keep an eye out for that, I suppose. We're going to be recording some new stuff in the future. And yeah, where can we find you on the internet, Jesse?
You can find me at GrinchFat, Grinch_fat on Instagram, and I believe Grinch_fat on Twitter.
I'm pretty sure it's an underscore, yeah. You have brand synergy now. You changed your names.
I have brand synergy. It's underscore, yes. I have
Cool.
brand synergy now. I've achieved it. My pinned tweet is like an E3 meme mixed with a Scooby-Doo meets the Boo Brothers meme.
Great.
So so if you want more of that, like really niche, stupid humor, be sure to check me out on there. Also, just follow me because I need validation, and yeah. So
Follow my art Instagram. I've been drawing a lot of Care Bears.
follow Leo's art Instagram. He's been drawing a lot of Care Bears. Follow me. Haven't been posting much on anything, but I will maybe in the future. Is there anything else we need to plug? Also, if you have any suggestions for things we should talk about in future episodes, you can comment. You can slide into my DMs. I don't know if Leo is allowing any sliding into his DMs, but I am more than willing to accept.
Perhaps. Just don't be a freak. Just, be a human being.
You can be a freak to me. Yeah, but feel free to like make recommendations for future topics, and be sure to subscribe to the Media Cage on YouTube.
Yeah.
And thank you for listening as always.
Yeah.
Best Boys Deep Dive.
Y'all have a good day, evening, morning, night, whatever. Have a good span of time, and thank you for listening.
Yeah. It's so hot in my room.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Also, if you've heard a lot of shifting in this episode and a lot of like outside noise, like more so than usual on my end, I'm sorry. I recently moved back home for the summer, and I'm recording on my bed. Like, my computer and microphone are propped up on an ironing board. So, like, that's where I'm at right now.
A little peek behind the curtain.
Yeah, and it's very warm in here, and, like, I keep sweating underneath my, like, knee pits.
Ugh.
So I keep, like, shifting around to try and, like, air them out. And I keep, like, hugging my pillows to, like, so I can, like, try and, like, fix my posture, because I'm just hunching over like a gremlin to my laptop.
I hunch at my desk too. I'm like, I have bad posture.
I like hunch extra bad now because I don't have like a back for
you don't have a back. My spine's
like,
gone.
I don't have like like a backrest, like a chair.
Yeah.
So because I'm just on a bed. So that's a whole situation. Anyway, so
Jesse just wanted to complain, but have a good night.
Yeah. Also, I'm so glad I'm back home and I'm not living with my stupid roommates in my stinky little garbage apartment that got me sick. I got gastrointestinitis because my roommate wouldn't pick up his trash and throw it away.
Yeah.
And he just had like fruit flies and gnats flying around because he wouldn't throw away his pasta sauce that was just sitting out there for like a week. And I couldn't walk to my fridge without stepping in rice and cheese. And there was a mysterious like white stain on the floor. Was it bacon grease? Was it gravy? Was it nut? I don't know.
It's cum.
Who knows? I'm not for sure. They're all garbage, gross boys. One of them's a racist. I'm glad I'm never going to see them again.
Yeah, fuck them. Anyway, thank you for listening to this episode of Best Boys Deep Dive.
What a great way to close out our Care Bears episode.
You guys... Oh my god. I've been trying to close out this fucking episode for the past 10 minutes and you're like, and another thing!
Furthermore.
Thank you for listening. We will see you next time.
See you, everyone.